Meg.
Oh, I did it first
You
time.
did, you did. I know. We did it. We did it.
We
How are
did it,
you?
which is
Oh,
great. So how are you today?
I'm okay. How have you been in the heat?
Well, I have got air conditioning,
Okay, good for
which
you.
which I was really lucky, and I put it in because my house is south facing, and the wall of my bedroom is one big glass
Okay.
wall. So I have it just the sun. So basically, when I was redoing the house, my dad was like, "You're never going to live in
Yeah.
this with this heat, Meg, even on a normal summer's day." So way back, my dad had it put in like proper like air conditioning. At the time, I was a bit like, but now I'm like, I was, just so grateful that I had this air
Yeah.
conditioning.
Yeah.
And Ziggy, well, me and Ziggy just loved it, like under there all night, all day. So yeah, so basically I felt for people because I was like getting a good night's sleep,
Hmm.
and then everybody else was coming back saying, I'd be walking in the park, they go, just haven't slept for 4 or 5 days.
Okay, so you
So
you were feeling a bit kind of guilty. But
yeah, I was
look,
just a bit like, oh yeah, I'm feeling great.
no,
But
but
yeah,
it's
I
fine.
think it did. I mean, we find it hard as sort of menopausal women when we don't sleep
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
our brains don't seem to connect like as quickly, which is, it's a weird thing to say, but it does. It just, like, if I don't have enough sleep, then I feel dreadful.
Yeah,
Like,
no. I mean, I often say that your hormones, or particularly estrogen, is a bit like the Wi-Fi in your brain. So when your hormones are low, and so many other things are affected, like your sleep, then it's a bit like when your Wi-Fi is down, that
mm,
connectivity is not there. You can't find your words as well. So it's very much like you said, and then other factors: not sleeping, feeling a bit low, feeling a bit anxious, heat,
yeah,
night sweats. All of those kind of things all contribute to it.
yeah,
So it's been a funny week, I think, but it feels quite
yeah.
nice to be putting on a jumper today, sort of
No,
like a
well,
jumper.
I went outside to do a walk, and I didn't need a jumper. It's
Okay.
still really, really not right. I mean, it's just
Muggy.
this drizzle and sticky, and I came back and I'm all like, yeah,
Yeah.
wasn't very, wasn't cold at all.
No,
I
I
had
know.
like a sort of sou'wester thing on with nothing, just like one of those ponchos you wear at a festival,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it was just light and flowy and big pockets in it. But it was like, even that was all sweaty and sticky. It was just like, ugh.
No,
So everybody outside there is not very nice today
no.
at
And
all.
I'm really pleased at all the people that are joining us today at 9 o'clock on a Saturday.
I know, look,
Uh, it's really lovely that people are logging on, and I think also, it's quite nice to be able to ask your menopause questions. And today, we thought we'd focus a bit on weight and diets in particular, because everybody's asking, well, how do we shift that weight? And particularly after lockdown, I've had so many women say it, I myself, in that instance. So I think it's a really, it's a subject that's really close to everybody's hearts, and also the whole Boris and obesity and COVID, but, particularly for women in 40s and 50s and beyond, that weight gain around that middle, which can be really, difficult to shift. Why does it happen, and what can we do, really? Well, first of all, I just want to say the sort of the weekly question that we seem to get is, can I
yeah,
start HRT when I've still got my periods?
yeah,
And I just want to say, yes, you can.
yeah. Please put that out there, because
Yeah,
that is probably my most, it's most asked question. It's the
yeah,
weight loss and can I start HRT with my periods, because I
yeah,
feel absolutely dreadful.
yeah.
And I just, and the really interesting thing, the most interesting thing is what you spoke about was taking the citalopram like for the 10 days.
Yes,
It's
while you're
because
taking.
that's been like, again, people have been, they listen to the coffee and a chat of you talking about this. So many women have asked me, have said that they are definitely going to do that, and
Yeah.
they, there doesn't have to be any shame around
I'm so
taking.
pleased you use that word, because it seems to be a lot of shame around taking
Yeah,
things like antidepressants, or a sense of failure, or
yes,
that you're not a woman or something like that. And I think there is no
we
shame, and I'm
have to
so pleased
really,
that you
yeah.
said that. Yeah,
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 and I want people to feel like that, because I take one,
Yeah.
and it's really helped me out.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it took a little bit of time to get the because I took one that made me really bloat. Everyone, if you sort of notice, I was very bloated for most of this year, because the medication they gave me was completely wrong. It just didn't suit my body. So through lockdown, I came right the way down to, they started me on like a really high dose, you know, because they do for some reason, I don't know why. But now I'm on like 5.5, do you know what I mean? I've got right down and I feel it's perfect. That is enough. The bloating is gone, which was just awful. It was just
Yeah.
like, you know, just consuming me. And I didn't have any confidence, and I was too scared to put the medication down. And then I was like getting depressed because of the weight. So I was in a real hole for a very long time. But, you know, through lockdown, I was managed to take down the dose gradually, because I
Yeah.
didn't have a lot on, which I started to freak out about. And then I was able to get that right. And then I sort of started to see the bloat went after like a week.
Yeah. And that's important to say that sometimes, and I want to say this with regards to HRT, because some women
Yeah.
say to me, oh, I've taken HRT, you know, I didn't like it, it made me feel awful, or it didn't work, or something like that. And, you know, just to bear that in mind, that, you know, you may need to try a different preparation. That one
Yeah.
may not suit you, so let's try a different one. It's the same with you know, sort of anti-anxiety, antidepressant
Mm.
medication, that, you know, you may find that the first one you put onto may not suit you and you just need to change over to a different one. But, you know, you do usually, I would say, give it a few weeks before you decide to that you're not
Yeah.
going to go onto it.
Yeah.
And bloating is a horrible symptom. Sometimes some people feel nausea, tiredness. But the thing is, it doesn't mean to say if one doesn't work that another one won't work for you. So don't
Yeah.
just write it off totally. And weight, you know, weight is often the tipping point that people come in to see me. Actually, this week I had somebody coming in because of her skin changes, and she'd been
Mm.
putting up with everything else, and it was the skin changes that
Yeah.
was a tipping point. But, you know, the reason we gain weight, or the reason why that middle age spread, or that
Yeah.
loss of waistline happens, ooh, not sure why that happened. I think I need to get closer to the screen. Is because one is aging. You know, we
Yeah.
can't deny that. We can't deny sort of getting older. So our bodies naturally gain about half to 1 kilo, which is 1 to 2 pounds per year. And that may not sound like a lot, but over a decade, that's a stone and a half.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know. So you'll notice, so like from being, you know, 40 to 54,
yeah.
that, you know, that
You could have
are a
put
lot
on two
heavier.
stones. You could have put on two
Yeah,
stones
yeah,
in that
easily.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could easily you could do that. So that happens because of our hormones, estrogen and progesterone, and testosterone declining. And because of that, we lose muscle. You know, we also lose muscle tone as well. And
Mm.
also it impacts on our other hormones like insulin. And I talk a lot about this because insulin is that hormone that is meant to sort of help with creating energy, and it stores our sugars as fat if you know, for when we need to, for as
Yeah.
reserves. And if our insulin's not working so well, so we lose that sensitivity to it, then what it ends up doing is it just ends up grabbing all of those sugars and things, storing them as fat around the middle. And that's
Yeah.
because, you know, of our hormones, estrogen, and progesterone all changing during perimenopause and menopause. So it's a combination of factors: aging,
Yeah.
hormonal imbalance, and your insulin becomes a bit more resistant. So it's less sensitive to doing the job it's meant to
Right.
do.
Okay.
Also, we get stressed. We're anxious. We're not sleeping. So because of that, cortisol levels also rise. And cortisol is a good hormone in most circumstances. You know, from evolution point of view, it's our stress hormone,
Yeah.
which helps us. People talk about flight and fright. You know,
Mm.
and what it does is it diverts energy to places that we need to. So it takes it away from our gut, so we don't digest food so well. Our digestion slows down, and so that's another reason why we end up feeling a bit more bloated and, you know,
Yeah.
sort of expanding on of our
Yeah.
waistline. And nowadays we seem to live under constant stress, you know, at some
Yeah.
low level. It's not like yeah, I was going to say even, you know, sort of hundreds of years ago, when you'd have a
Yeah.
spike in adrenaline or and a spike in stress. Nowadays, we all seem to be
Just
living at,
all underlying, isn't it? I
yeah,
think it just rumbles away here.
yeah.
I mean, we had quite a stressful week, but we were okay.
Yes, yes, we did. We did. We've come through it, I
We've
think.
come
Well,
through it.
almost,
But
almost.
yeah, but it's underlying, isn't it? It's sort of
Yeah,
like does that.
yeah,
But you know, as much as people probably say it doesn't work, but trust me, for a person who has suffers with really bad anxiety, that the cleaner my diet, the less my does you keep going dark when my screen
yeah,
goes dark?
yeah.
That's weird.
Oh, I thought that was me. That's okay.
No,
Yeah.
did yours do it as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So it's you know, the cleaner the diet, you know, the more exercise and the more mindful stuff that you do, it really does work. And I know that people don't, you know, always wanting to think of a quick sort of fix or whatever, but it's really about all those things, and they really keep my anxiety, you know. I mean, the cleaner my diet, the more clarity I have in my brain, the
Yeah.
more I don't feel so bogged down. And even if I just, so I'm saying this because I've been doing this, I've been doing
Yes,
a
you have.
green
Yes.
juice cleanse, and it's made so much difference, like so much difference. So if, you know, it's like just the way I'm sleeping, the way that I'm thinking, it's just everything, as well as the weight loss and the bloat loss. It's just how everything starts to be aligned
Yeah.
and work really well.
Yeah, and you know, exercise and mindfulness, because that reduces your stress, then also it helps with your digestion. You know, a lot of women find that their gut symptoms like constipation, irritable
Mm,
bowel syndromes tend to flare up around this time or can get worse, and that also contributes towards the bloat.
yeah,
The other aspects are, you know, that you mentioned about having a clean diet. I mean, juice diet might not be for everybody, but
yeah, of
there
course.
are things that they can do in the sense that maybe to alleviate some of the bloat. Like sometimes women find, particularly around this time, and I'm talking some for with my sort of functional medicine hat on, is
Yeah,
to going gluten free can be very
yeah,
helpful. It
absolutely. I
doesn't mean
mean,
that you've got celiac disease, but women's
no,
gut can be very sensitive to gluten. So trial it. And when I say trial it, I usually say to people, if you're going to go gluten free, dairy free,
yeah,
meat free, or you know, to if you're going to trial it, you've got to try it for at least almost 4 weeks, because
yeah,
that's what reduces the inflammatory markers in the gut. So to actually test if it works, and
yeah,
sometimes for some women it might be easier to do one thing at a time rather than doing everything. So when you do everything, gluten free, dairy free, meat free, it's called
yeah,
an elimination diet, and that can be very hard sometimes, especially in families when you're cooking for more
yeah,
than
of
one person
course.
to do. So maybe go gluten free and see how that works for you. Go
Yeah,
dairy free, and you may find that, you know, there are some aspects that when you find some foods are what triggers you off to feel sluggish, to feel tired.
yeah.
Um, and you know, then those are the ones for you to avoid. But I mean, I think I also get asked a lot about intermittent fasting, and I don't know if you've tried it, Meg, yourself,
Yeah,
and
of
how you
course.
feel.
Yeah, I love it. It works. It works for me. It's probably what I do most of the time.
Yeah.
You
So
know, and
so
there's
so to tell people
different
what it
times
is.
that you can do, isn't there? So you've
Yeah.
got the, you know, what is there? These eight and there's different hours, isn't there, that you can
Yeah.
do. What would you suggest? Which is
So
because
so more.
I do hardcore, so I
Yeah.
would do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
You're
don't want
probably
to follow my
advanced
one,
level.
everyone, because
Yeah.
I do like because there's only me and Ziggy and a few other people in my life. So you know, I can do this. I'm not having to cook dinner for
Yeah.
everybody, and so you know, I would do probably I would eat 6 till 8.
Okay. Yeah.
That is it between
Wow.
those 2 hours. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
and then I just
That is
juice.
hardcore.
That's what I mean.
That is.
Juice, lots of water. Um, And then what I do if I'm really, and then I have a little miso, something hot in the day, and lots of like herbal teas and stuff. But you know, I'm hardcore, and I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this for 10, 12 years, so that's why
Okay.
I'm used to it. It was difficult in the beginning, and also that's why I'm thinking while you're going through this and you're being menopausal, I think the intermittent fasting that most regular people do, I would stick to that.
Yeah. So what I say to patients, because
Yeah,
what happens, because I've said about how insulin loses its sensitivity becomes more resistant and you gain weight around the middle. It's a bit like what we would call metabolic disorder, or almost like a pre-diabetes. So why intermittent fasting helps, from a medical point of view, as well as a diet point of view, is that it helps to improve your insulin activity. So it makes insulin work better. It also helps with your cholesterol and lipid levels, which we know during perimenopause, your cholesterol levels go high. So what intermittent fasting is time restricted eating. Like you said, you do it within 2 hours. But I usually say to people, when they first start out, it can be quite difficult. And if you've got a family, then you don't want to be, eating different times to them. So usually I say, have your evening meal, like everybody does, finish at 8 o'clock. And then you can have herbal teas, water, hot water and lemon, and then try and eat the following day at midday, 11 or 12 o'clock. So basically you've done 16, you've basically done 16 hours.
That's
if
good.
If 16 hours is too hard, go for 14 hours. And somebody's just asked me the opinion on metformin for insulin resistance. And metformin is a drug used in diabetes. And what that does is it helps with insulin sensitivity. And I do sometimes prescribe that to some of my patients to give them a quick start, or a kick start to get going. So if you can do 8 till 12, which is 16 hours, great. If that actually stresses your body, don't do it, because again, stress creates cortisol, and that makes makes it harder to shift weight. So then do 14 hours. So just do 8 till 10. And I usually give people the weekend off. So again, family time. But also I think sometimes having a couple of days off also shocks your body again on the Monday. Or if you are someone who prefers to eat breakfast and are happy not doing eating your evening meal, then like you said, you then to stop eating at 6 o'clock, 5 or 6 o'clock, and then start at breakfast again. So those are the things that I often recommend. Also, there's a supplement that I often offer to my patients is inositol, Inofolic. Do message me afterwards or contact me and I could send you the link to it. That also helps to sensitize insulin, and that can very much help as well.
What is that? And what is that?
What it does is it kind of acts as a bit like a carb blocker, sort of prevents and improves the sensitivity of insulin. So again, a bit like the metformin, a bit like with intermittent fasting.
Anyone take that, or
anyone? And particularly it's used a lot for women with polycystic ovarian syndrome because of their hormonal imbalance. But considering when we go into that menopause transition, we are almost doing a very similar, our bodies are going into a similar hormonal imbalance. It can help. Now, it doesn't work for all women. It tends to work for those kind of women. I think intermittent fasting works for those kind of women who have that propensity to gain weight quickly. I mean, someone like me who looks at a croissant and they've put on a few pounds, and also people of ethnic origin, like my ethnic origin, who are at a higher risk of type 2 diabetes, Black women, higher risk of type 2 diabetes. And you've got to, your waistline, it doesn't really do much for weight loss if you are slightly overweight, because your waist isn't that big. So it's more about, sort of waist size rather than weight.
Okay, I get that.
Okay. Someone's asked, go on.
I'll answer a question first.
No, somebody's asked about a drug called Acarbose, which is no longer available in the United Kingdom. We don't really prescribe it that frequently, not on the NHS. But one of its horrible side effects, considering we're talking about bloat, is farting. So it does and can work well for women, but or for anyone, but one of its negative side effects.
That's not a good one to have.
No. That's one of its negative side effects. But sorry, you were going to ask me.
I was going to ask. There's a big question there. What when we talk about gut flora. Or there's another word for it now. They don't call it
microbiome or microbiota.
Yeah. So is this very, very important to us? And every time that you even take like an ibuprofen or paracetamol, it can disrupt your microbiome. Is that correct?
Yeah, microbiome. So we now know that inflammation is you know, sort of the issue in a number of conditions. And, you know, when we talk about depression, there's a low grade inflammation. When we talk about, you know, stress, low grade inflammation. And one of the things is that people sometimes forget that the gut microbiome, which are lots and lots of tiny little bacteria, and within our gut, it's really important to maintain. And the way we do that, and the way we have a varied one, is by eating lots of different foods. So, you know, often people talk about diets and they just think about calories, but it's not just about calories. Like, for example, 100 calories from broccoli is the nutrients and everything that you get from it, and how it contributes to your gut microbiome is very different from 100 calories from chocolate.
Of course.
So if we're just looking at maybe 1,500 calories per day or something like that, it also matters how you get that calorie intake. So it's not just about counting your calories. They've also got to contribute towards your gut health. They've also got to sort of contribute towards your general sort of nutrition. So don't think, and I think when we were in the 80s or so, everybody just thought about calorie counting and thought, oh, if I'm going to go on, if I'm going to go on a 1,000 calorie a day diet, I might as well get it from chocolate.
Just to eat a bar of chocolate. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's
right.
not. But it's
we
not.
say the rainbow now, don't we? We say you should eat all the rainbows of your vegetables. So you have peppers and radishes, and so you have all the rainbow colours. So you go through that.
Particularly vegetables are really good at this age, because vegetables have they don't have, they're not as sugary as fruit. So when you eat fruit, it gives you a sugar spike, whereas vegetables don't tend to do it. And let's have a look. Somebody's written, totally, this needs to be made clear. So many people just talk about the deficit and the input. Absolutely, Carter. It's not. It's about your calorie in, how you're taking those calories in. And you know, your food is really important, because almost 80% of what you take it helps to maintain your body. It's called your basal metabolic rate. And that's a baseline. And then 20% is from your energy output, exercise, things like that. So you've got, your diet is equally important.
And it's not all about taking shitloads of supplements. You need to get you need to get it from food. It's so much better. I eat so many dark greens.
Okay.
You know, lots of kale, lots of spinach, anything really dark and leafy and green is probably my main thing in my diet, because it fills me up. I can have large bowls of it. You know, it's and it's delicious, you know, with kale, with some garlic and chili, and you know, you can make it really delicious. And then I'd eat quinoa, you know, just something that is really clean and healthy, but
also quinoa is protein. And that's what's really important. So with every meal, you know, the thing with intermittent fasting is effectively you're cutting out one meal a day, so you're ending up with 2 meals per day. So, but you should always have some protein included in it, and quinoa is a great source of protein. I actually make normally people make with rice, they make a pilau rice. I make a quinoa pilau. And it doesn't really taste that different with the curries and things, you know, with a vegetable curry. It really doesn't. It really doesn't taste that different. So it's important to get your protein source in quinoa, nuts. You know, if it's from a meat source, you know, sort of chicken, fish, or red meat and things, as well as from a vegetable source, like you said, tofu. So so that is important to do, is to add protein in with each meal, because that makes you feel fuller. It makes you feel fuller, and it keeps you, and it keeps your blood sugar levels, you know, sort of stable throughout the day. The last thing you want in during this time period, in menopause transition or perimenopause, is your blood sugar levels to spike like this. Because when they spike, you get angry, you get you know, sort of you get irritable. And somebody said, what's the one thing that I could do today to help with bloat? I mean, something simple I sort of say is mint tea and probiotics.
I was going to say probiotic, a really good probiotic, if, you know, as well, of course, the Meno blend, but the probiotic is probably one of the things that I do spend money on, a good probiotic. But I am starting this called Simprove. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
I'm doing the 12-week course. it's arriving on Monday. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to give that a go, and then I'll let you know, everybody, how it went on and how it did, and if I feel any better. Because I just wanted to support my gut much more. Just to tidy everything up, I think, because I did the fast, because I did in lockdown, I did indulge way too much, and I could feel it, you know, mentally and physically.
Yeah. No, Simprove is one of the ones I recommend. So
Yeah.
I'm a member of the Primary Care Society of Gastroenterology. So
Yeah.
it's one of the, you know, it's one of the things that I'm a member of, and so that's why very much gut health is really close to my heart,
Oh,
particularly
brilliant.
celiac disease, particularly irritable bowel syndrome.
Yeah.
As you know, I suffer with IBS myself, and you know, and at times, you know, when you're stressed, it really does flare up. And I know, like for example, on holiday, things seem to be much better with your gut and
Yeah.
things. So it's really important. I usually say probiotics are fantastic, and
Yeah.
I would generally say take them at night rather than in
Wow.
the,
Okay.
because
I
your gut is more resting at night.
rested. Yeah. I
Yeah,
didn't think of that. I'm
and
just have it in the
and
morning.
it also helps with weight loss. And we know from sort of epigenetics actually that people who have a more varied gut microbiome also have more balanced weight, and it's easier for them maybe to manage their weight a bit better. So
Right.
it's really your gut health is super important.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, do come and discuss it if you want to with me. But I'm just saying it is really important in everything that we do. You know,
Yeah. And I
mind,
think
body.
it's like you're saying, and is this quite new? Because it just seems to be. I don't know whether it's like everyone's talking about the menopause, but everyone's starting to talk about all of this and doing the connection. Or have you doctors, so you've known this for a long time?
I don't think all doctors. I mean, I know
No, if you've
from
got
my
an
perspective.
interest.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I've been a member now for like 15 years. So for me,
Ah,
it's always been one of the things. But I do agree with you. Probably in the last 3 or 4 years, for example, I was going to put on my website, you know, Dr. Harper has an interest in the gut microbiome. And I thought, oh, maybe people won't know what I'm talking about here. So I took it off. But
I think you
now
should put it
everybody's,
back
I'm
on.
going to put it back
Put
on
it
because
back on because
everybody is now talking about it.
yeah,
But I think they are talking about, and I think people are much more aware about it.
yeah,
And there's those lovely twins, the gut stuff.
yeah.
I don't know. They
I don't
do a
know
lot
them.
around. Okay, so yeah, so they were at one of the talks at Primary Care Society,
Yeah,
and they very much are very involved with sort of gut health and things. So I think, I mean, it is really important, and it's important to have a varied diet. Don't just calorie count. Intermittent fasting, I think, for a lot of women
yeah,
during this time period is fantastic. The other thing people ask about is keto diet.
yeah. Well, I've done that a few times.
How did you feel on it?
I felt really good on it. I did a drink, a keto drink. I take one in the morning and one in the afternoon. So it basically, you can't do it for a very long time, but it puts your body straight into ketosis. But a lot of my friends were doing it, and a lot of friends told me that it was really good, and you know, and it is, and I thought it was really good. It is expensive though, that's the thing. It's from America, it's a patent, it's called keto Pruvate or something. So you have this drink and your body will go straight into ketosis. So sometimes it takes your body quite a while to get into ketosis. This puts your body straight into ketosis.
So what ketosis is, or the
Yeah,
keto
explain
diet
that
for a
to
lot of
everyone now.
people, yeah, it's basically a high protein, minimal carb diet. And for most people, it may also be carb free. So, but
Yeah, I think carb
it's a,
free.
yeah, so it's a high protein diet. And what it does is, so what ketosis is your body burning up calories using fat. So when we eat something, our body gets energy through two kind of pathways. One is burning sugar, which is carbohydrates, you know, sort of fruit, vegetables, all of those kind of things. And one is by burning fat. So that's how we get energy. So the easiest way for our body to get energy is going down that sugar pathway, that carb pathway.
Yeah,
So that's why by cutting out carbs or cutting out sugars, and that means fruit sugars as well, to be
yeah,
really strict,
yeah.
it pushes it into that fat burning pathway, which is called ketosis. So it puts your body into that process is called ketosis. It's getting those fat stores from your body and burning it up, burning it up, burning it up.
Yeah.
And that's why you need to have protein, you know, because you need to avoid going down that carb pathway. And you're absolutely right. It is challenging, because you can feel really weak for about three days, 5 days, until your body clicks into that
Yeah,
ketosis
I got
stage.
ketosis flu. I had flu-like symptoms
Yeah,
for
yeah.
2 days.
You feel
Oh my
really
God,
weak.
my bones were aching. I woke up and I thought I had COVID because I did it in COVID. And I was like,
Okay.
ah, what's happening? Sorry, Ziggy. He just went like, and my body was aching and everything. But then I went online and it just said, you need electrolytes. You need to
Yes.
get some minerals and salts. And they just put a bit of, you know, Himalayan salts in some water, or you put some minerals. So I just ordered some electrolytes and just put it in my water, and it said you're not drinking enough water. That's the other thing. You
Yeah, you
have to
must,
drink a lot of water on that. So
because you can
you
get
know,
constipated because you're not getting
yes,
fiber into your diet. So back to constipation again. But
yeah,
yes, but it
yeah,
can
2 liters they
yeah.
say minimum, and you do have to. It's that if you don't, you'll feel ill.
Yeah,
So
and you can feel really weak, you feel really tired until your body switches over, which can take 3 to 5 days. So often when people ask me, I'll say, you know, I've done it myself as well.
yeah,
And I know for the first day I was literally just lying there on the sofa,
yeah,
just eating chicken and broccoli, and basically
yeah,
thinking this is not doing it. I hate this, but I thought I've got to get through this. And so if you can get through to it, when you click over or switch over into
yeah.
ketosis, then actually you do feel okay. You
Yeah,
do
the
feel
energy is,
energy.
and the
But
clear-minded. You do
yeah,
get all of that. I must say, you do connect. Like you'll get, you know, brain fog lifts. You actually feel very, you feel very alive.
yeah,
So when you do crossover, so you know, it does work and it is good. It's just, I think it's a very short way.
yes,
I think
yeah. I was going to
I think
say,
8 weeks. I think 2 months was enough to
yeah,
do.
I would even say just, you know, you can do it for about a month, or it's really just to get your body going,
Yeah,
because you know, sometimes what a lot of women talk to me about is that they just want to see a little bit of a result, and then that'll give them the motivation to
yeah,
continue. And it's not really, I mean, some people do it for life, but I think it's a very difficult way of life, and it can be a very antisocial way of life. You know, you can't have any carbs, or you know, if you're someone who enjoys bread or pasta or rice,
yeah.
you know, you want to have a little bit, like if you enjoy alcohol, then you know that might be
Yeah, of
something that you
course.
want. So I'm just saying, so but it can be that if you do it for even, you know, I mean, yeah, I would say month
A month.
minimum,
Yeah,
really, that it gets you into into that zone, and you're feeling more positive about yourself.
yeah,
You've lost a few pounds, and then you can continue and
yeah,
maintain it, weight loss in a more manageable way. Because ultimately, you know, all the studies do show people who go on whichever diet they go on, as long as they sustain it and maintain it,
yeah,
we'll all reach the same goal ultimately. It's just the path that we take getting there
yeah,
is different for each person, or can suit different people. And you know, I sometimes say to people, you know, who are feeling really demotivated, or feeling and really upset about their
yeah,
weight change, a juice diet, you know, for 3 days, 5 days, to kick you into gear, into that
yeah. I
mental
agree with
state.
that one. I think it's
Yeah.
for me, it's the best one. And I've just done this one, which is great, and it gets delivered. And
Tell me about that one afterwards, Meg. I'd be
well, it's
interested
there.
in.
It's called Press Prescriptions. They're amazing.
Okay,
They're in London.
okay,
They do all sorts. They do a sugar cleanse. They're in glass, which is great because a lot of them are in plastic, which I don't
okay,
like. And also they do. I think they deliver every 2 days, so everything is fresh.
okay.
You know,
I'll
a
give
lot
them
of them like
an
yeah,
email, or I'll look them
yeah,
up afterwards.
yeah.
So
Have a look,
definitely,
and
yeah.
they're really good. And I've done it. Um, like a friend of mine just did, Caroline Gaskin, who's the homeopathic doctor who works in Ainsworth, and she's got amazing practice. And she did the to see what it was like for all her clients, and she did the gut cleanse and said it was amazing. It was all different colours, colours of the
Yeah.
rainbow, and she said it was really good. She wasn't hungry at all. And she felt really, after she did it for 5 days, and she said she felt great.
I mean, I've not done it, but I might try it and for my patients as well, and sort of see
Yeah,
how it works. Because for me and from a lot of the women that I see, weight is a real psychological issue, and we if we can change that mental attitude towards it,
yeah,
if we can just get things moving and motivated, then I think, you know, women feel that they are able to do it themselves. The other thing that can often help at this point is, you know, if you're on HRT, is also to have some testosterone, because that
yeah.
helps with
I agree.
metabolism, and that also helps with strength. You know, I have a lot of women say to me, gosh, I went for a bike ride, which I didn't know if I would be able to complete, but now I'm on testosterone, I can. It doesn't make you hairy, you know, sort of
No,
butch or anything like
no.
that. It just gives you back that sort of strength, and also speeds up your metabolism and gives a bit of a waist, you know, gets your waist back, is what a lot of women say.
Yeah.
So it's really important
I'm a
getting your
big fan
hormones
of
in balance.
testosterone, and I
Yeah.
would say any day, just, you know, it is like the cherry on the top.
Yes. Yeah.
I
That's
feel it
exactly what
is.
I would
It
say. Yeah.
just, yeah, it's a sort of like, you know, it's like we made a lot of testosterone, didn't we, as women in like our
Yes.
20s?
20s and 30s. Yeah.
Yeah, we made a lot. So, you know, it's not like you're giving your body something it's not used to. So,
Yeah.
you know, I already, you know, even in my 20s or 30s, I had the odd hair that I used to have to pluck. So, you know, they're still there, but I still had them there.
Yeah.
So it didn't make me any more hairier, you
Yeah.
know. But
So
it does make you feel like a little bit, like you say, that your libido,
yeah.
everything, your energy levels. So when you do that and you're feeling, you know, sort of like bogged down, you know, and oh, we've lost each other,
Okay.
but it does make it, doesn't it? It just sort of gives you that oomph to get up again and sort of want to get back in the gym, or not in the gym. I wouldn't say I'm going back to the gym, but you know, just working out, whatever. It just gives you that sort of
Exactly.
oomph.
And someone's just asked about severe constipation. Magnesium, having some magnesium supplements can really help. Drinking lots of fluid can be really helpful. But there are other sort of medications and things too. But I would definitely say let's try a magnesium supplement, because that's one of its positive side effects, if you want to, you know, that it helps to loosen things up.
So do you
And
want to
some
read that one? How do you get testosterone as it's not licensed? You have
For
to
the
go private.
licensed version, you have to go private. Otherwise, your GP will prescribe you one which is not licensed, but it's for men. But
Gel.
in a but it is in a low, but it would be given to you in a low dose. And the
Yeah.
other thing I'm going to say about testosterone is sometimes some women say it hasn't worked for me. If it hasn't worked for you, again, let's try a different preparation. Okay,
Yeah.
so then it may be worth trying a different, you know, brand of testosterone.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons is, so, and if you use too much of it, if your dose is too high, yes, hair loss can be a side effect. Okay, but also it's also to do with hormonal balance. If you're so often, you know, when we see much older ladies with hairy chins and things, and you think,
Yeah.
gosh, they've got so much testosterone. It's not a question that they have a lot of testosterone. It's because they've also got low estrogen, and so their testosterone is more dominant. So
Right.
that's why it's important to get the balance right.
Okay. So what? How come my hair went thicker?
Estrogen. So that's why you
Oh,
had the right balance. So for most women, um, I had somebody yesterday who said, I asked her about her hair, and she's only been on HRT for the last 6 8 weeks, and she said her hair feels thicker, fuller, or she's
yeah.
already feeling that it feels much better.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mine just really grew and got really thick.
yes,
You know.
yeah.
So I
So
think
so
from
it's about getting
forcing.
the balance right.
Yeah.
It's about getting the balance right. So that's important to know.
Yeah, and it just takes a little while to sort of, and you have to go how you feel. Don't
Yeah,
keep going, everybody, going back to getting blood tests. It's
yes.
really about listening to your body. It's not about what they're gonna, the
It's not
doctors.
about the numbers. It's not
No,
about the
it's
numbers.
all
It's
about
about,
how you're feeling, and you can
yeah,
see changes in your skin and your
yeah,
hair,
yeah,
and you know your muscle mass, and you know just generally you need to just listen to your body and watch your body and be more aware of your body. You know, like as we say, you know, how many women last, you know, looked at their vaginas in a mirror, you know,
yes,
that sort of
exactly.
thing. Everyone, you know, they will go, oh, but I'm just like, you need to be in tune with your body.
Yeah. Someone's
Definitely.
asked an interesting question because said, should you use estrogen in the morning or night? Now, I think in the packaging it says at night.
Yeah, I would do
Okay,
it at night.
but I say do it in the morning.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, because a lot of women feel that it actually disrupts their sleep if they take it at night. However, it's really about you and your rhythm and your own sort of routine, really. But if it's easier for you to do it at night and it's not disrupting your sleep, then once you get into the rhythm, it should be okay. But often, a lot of women find that it may disrupt their sleep a little bit. Or if you are having to put a lot of pumps on, for example, 4 pumps a day or 5 pumps a day, then I do say split it up. You know, I'll say do one in the morning, do half in the morning, half in the evening, because then that allows for better absorption. Because we've only got so much body that we can rub our estrogen into.
I know, and I'm on like 6 pumps, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4,
yeah,
5, 6.
Exactly. So sometimes people do find it easier to divide the dose up, because then it's easier to sort of spread onto their legs.
It doesn't take that. I mean, it does take quite a little bit longer to dry, I've got to say. That's the thing in the morning, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the other thing, I was going to ask you this, because we're going to talk, actually we'll talk about this next time, but I basically I always forget to wash my hands when I put it on, and I've been and I touch Ziggy quite a lot. Ziggy's nipples have got very big.
Yes, that is because of
estrogen. Are running after him like male dogs do not leave him alone. So I really feel bad about this, because you've
estrogenized him, and because also it says that you should not have sex sort of the packaging says 2 hours after applying it, because it could rub off on your male partner. But and it's important, to, once it's all absorbed, to wash your hands if you're going to touch children, because there could be that, like you said, poor Ziggy, that you got him.
It was so bad.
I know. So, but I usually say an hour is fine. You don't have to wait 2 hours. By that time, it's absorbed, and you can go off and do hot yoga, do exercise, do all the things that you want to do.
They just said, I've just had a shower in the middle of the day. I said, what time? And they said, but I put my gel on in the morning. I went, no, you're fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. You're fine. Oh, sorry, Ziggs, it's me.
Say no.
Right, I'm going to go.
I know. I was conscious of the time for you.
I'm just going to put
and say hello to Ricky. For all of us.
Yes, actually. I will do. I will say, I will definitely. Right, Dr. Hobber, lovely to see you. And
thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you for following us today. Look, we had like 59 or something people. Yeah. Great. So thank you for taking your time on a Saturday morning, and we'll be back next week. Maybe we should do Saturday mornings.
I know, it's not bad actually. It's quite nice. It's cozy. I like it.
Yeah, I think so, because the weeks are getting busy now, aren't they?
They are. Actually,
and
that's not a bad idea.
I mean, I can do 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, because so we'll
Me too. Okay, so let's talk about it on WhatsApp later.
On Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk to you in the week.
Definitely.
Lots of love.
Bye-bye.